Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Dr. Schilling bringing this week's Wednesday Wellness Minutes, and we hope everybody's doing well. And we want to touch base on something that people haven't reflected on much in this time of pandemic and things like that, but certainly the fear of it is everywhere, right? So that's the fear of loss, the fear of losing a loved one, fear of you dying, or one of your loved ones dying, or something like that. So what we wanted to do is touch on the idea of preparing for loss, like impending loss, like when you know someone has a very short period of time to live or whatever it might be, and or healing after a loss, because those are two really important things that happen in your life, and oftentimes we believe we either shouldn't do it or don't do it, or we neglect it, or whatever it might be. So, this is, I think, a really important subject to talk about, and that's why I wanted to touch on it this evening. For me, like, I think about recent years. 2014, I met Sarah in 13, and we were dating, and 2014 was pretty much a year of not fun, okay? So we went to my buddy Moila's wedding in Florida. On our way back, landed and found out he was out jogging. Her cousin Jared was out jogging, got hit by a car, okay? So she flew back down to Florida. She comes back, we get back into life and rhythm, right? And then later on that year, in June, my mom dies, okay? Just before her 65th birthday or something like that. So another big loss, like holy crap, here we go. And then not even a month later, a little over a month later, her sister dies giving childbirth. So now we're like really reeling, like we're holy crap. Now we're just knocked on our side, not really know what's going to happen, how we deal with this. Sarah's inconsolable, she can't even function, she won't leave the apartment, can't go to work, just inconsolable. And then later on that year, on New Year's Eve, my great aunt dies, and she was like the only grandparent I ever had. Everybody else was pretty much dead from when I was a child. So like healing the loss of that year alone was, a serious process, right? And I know for our family, Sarah then lost her mom in 2018. And so it's just been like, up one side, down the other, get knocked one way, get knocked back the other way. And so you got to be prepared for these things. Like you don't know when it's coming. And so what you might consider doing is taking some steps as far as preparing yourself for the loss, right? It's really important to understand like what is left undone, what is left unsaid, what needs to be handled, where's the relationship strained, whoever that might be. It could be your kid, it could be your parent, it could be your sibling, it doesn't matter who it is. But understanding that this is really important because, you only get one lifetime as far as we know. We'll just base it on that assumption, right? But for me, I think about when I'm growing up, my mom was like, it was almost like she was never really there because she was so emotionally detached. She was so focused on her MS and dealing with her depression, and she was never really there for me. My brother and sister had a totally different relationship with her than I did. So it was interesting when she passed in 14, it was a different experience for me than it was them. Of course, I was mourning that loss, but I had a different relationship with them. So there are things that I could have done to mend that relationship had I had some insights or maybe felt a compelling need to do that. And having had loss now, I now have a better understanding what compelling need is to have that healing and that closure and things like that, and make sure that things are good. So when you're thinking about preparing for a loss, really I think about, help your loved ones sort of make a memoir. Talk to them about their exciting, their cherished memories. Like what do they want to remember the most? How do they want to be remembered? Things like that. Like get involved with them, get engaged with them. Sometimes you might have days, weeks, and sometimes it's hours. You don't even know. So that time is really critical because that can create a bond and help heal part of you as they're passing. Okay. Certainly have no regrets. That would be one of the best pieces of advice or suggestion you might consider taking on, because if someone passes on before you've had a chance to reconcile something, well, that's going to be left unsaid, undone, and things like that. And or if you're worried about them passing, even if it's no guarantee, then you want to say, if I'm really worried about fear, if I'm really worried about loss, then why am I fearing that? What am I losing? What am I afraid of losing? Is it something that I'm missing? Is it something that I never got from them? Something I need to say to them? Things like that. So, for sure, don't have regrets. Leave nothing unsaid, shall we say. Make sure that, I think of it as, like with anything in life, you're going to suffer the pain of one of two things. Either discipline, in this case it would be addressing the things that have been unsaid or untouched or unresolved, or you can suffer the pain of regret or disappointment or sadness. when that person passes on, and you're not going to have an opportunity to address that. It may seem like insurmountable stress or pressure or the pain of addressing that and confronting that, and what if they love me less, or what if they reject me, or what if they get angry, or what if, I mean, it's like the old, what if happens, right? You can worry about what if all day long, but what really happens is up to you. So, endure that discipline, endure that pain of discipline so that you can get it handled and get it straightened out, and get it ironed out, and get feeling good about things, no matter what. Because at least as long as you unburden yourself, as long as you get it out, it may not repair the relationship, but at least you can repair what's inside, if that makes sense. Don't forget to take care of yourself. When someone is in ill health, or someone is nearing the end of their life and things like that, what is very common is that we as individuals, we tend to neglect our own health. We tend to say, you know what, I got to focus all my energy on this person, all my energy. And it's not dissimilar to what mothers do with their children. They tend to just exhaust themselves and give everything to them. And then kids grow up and move on, and then they're like left in what happened, right? Different scenario, but understand that you need to take care of yourself. You need to address your own healthcare needs. That's really a great point to take into consideration, because if you don't take care of yourself, you might have a mistake yourself. Stress will put you in the hospital faster than anything else, really. Stress and sickness and fear. If you start feeling guilt or sadness, forgive yourself. Like, people will have survivor's guilt. It's you might not think it would affect you, but you don't know until that happens. Like, well, why did they die and why didn't I die? And it doesn't have to be a catastrophic accident. Like, you're 5 members of a family in a car and everybody else dies and you live. It's not like that. It's like, people can have survivor guilt when someone in their life passes, and it's hard to understand, right? But it's usually because there's an unworthiness conflict in the person's mind. So make sure that you are addressing that. Forgive yourself. Like, say, you know what? They have a different path than I do. Whether you believe in God, believe in Ghana and or Gaia, if you will, and all the earth energy and universal, whatever you believe in, it doesn't matter. As long as you're good with that and good within yourself, that's all that matters. So forgive yourself. Say, this is my path. I'm living my journey. I'm moving on and healing this. I'm loving this person while they're here, and I'm going to encourage them to heal themselves as they're here. That's really what I would encourage you to do, because you can only handle what works for you and what's happening for you. So if you need to, seek a grief counselor. Really, there's some people out there that are talented to help you with skills and tactics and ideas about how to work through that kind of stuff. It's not easy. Some people, I think about when Sarah lost her sister, which was completely unexpected, the shock and surprise and the deep separation loss she experienced. And, oh my gosh, I can't even describe what it was like. But, we tried EMDR, and fortunately we had access to QNRT, but, like, it can be absolutely crippling and debilitating, So whether you're mourning your own loss, whether you're mourning the loss of your own health, whether you're mourning the loss of a loved one, whatever it might be, okay? Once you pass the point where you've lost someone, or you're now healing from the loss, because that was what we were just talking about, is kind of preparing for the loss. Think about now healing from the loss. And some of it's going to be similar. Like, you might have to forgive yourself and say, you know what, I absolve myself of any guilt. I'm living, I'm moving on, I'm moving on in my life. I am healing myself in my journey, I'm moving on. So that might be helpful for you. Give yourself time and space. Think about what you're feeling. Journal about it if you can. Sometimes it feels like, oh, I don't want to look at it, but it's not about that. It's about getting it out. Just do free writing. You don't have to go down there and say, like, my journal for today is entitled, the pain I feel with my loss. It don't have to be like that. Just sit down and say, today I'm feeling X, Y, and Z. And I feel those feelings in this part of my body. And just free flow. Just start writing. Don't think about it. Just write and write and write and get it off. Get it off your mind. Because you can rationalize things away, you can explain things away, and you can try to ignore things in your mind. But if you don't get them out, if you don't get them expressed, whether it's through written form or verbal form or physical form, whatever it might be, it's going to be trapped in your body. And there's an old saying that, I don't know where I got it. I'm sure it's definitely not original to me, I'm sure. Maybe it is. Emotions buried alive stay alive. Okay, it's a really important thought, because when you bury stress, you bury grief, you bury sadness or pain or anxiety or feelings of worthlessness and unlovability, it all gets buried in your tissue. So you start getting your issues in your tissues. your subconscious stress is affecting your autonomic nervous system, which then will affect your digestion or your liver, your detoxification, your kidneys and stress like that, your spleen, all your immune organs. So do not bury your emotions. It will not help you in any way, shape, or form. Thinking you can ignore it and move on, it's not going to help. I can assure you. If you find that it never goes away and you can't get over it and it seems to recur and recur and recur, seek out someone with a technique like QNRT or EMDR or something like that. Reset the limbic system, reset the emotional brain so you don't have to carry it on. But please, I would encourage you to not bury it. You know, there are 5 stages of grieving, right? There's denial, like, oh my gosh, this isn't happening, I can't handle it. Then you go into anger, and then you go into bargaining. Well, what if I would have just done this? What if I would have done something? What if they would have done something? What if something would have changed, right? So you're trying to rationalize it, right? You're trying to make sense of the loss. Like, what does it mean? And then you go into depression, like, oh, you know, what's the point? You know, I lost them. They were my everything. They were so important to me, this, that, and the other. And then eventually, at some point, ideally, you get into acceptance. You don't know when that's going to be, but there are many stories of people that go on grieving someone for the rest of their life. And the other side of that coin is there are other people that say, you know what, I love this person while they were here. I know what they would want me to do when they're gone rather. So I'm going to continue living the best life I can, never forgetting about them, but honoring them and loving them and cherishing that time I had with them. So at this point, I kind of say, let's look at a different paradigm. Because how we, you know, last weekend, or last Wednesday, excuse me, we talked about positivity versus negativity. And we can tie that into here because, like we talked about last week, where you choose to place your focus is really going to determine where all your energy goes. So, for example, if you choose to say, I'm extremely grateful for the time I had with this person. If it's your parent, I'm super appreciative and eternally grateful for them for creating me, for bringing me into this world, for giving me the guidance they did as best they could, right? You know, you can focus on the positive aspect of their time here, or you can focus on the negative aspect of losing them. So is that going to be, I'm grateful for the things I had with them and the time I had with them, or am I angry and frustrated and resentful and things like that for them leaving early? Where you choose to put your focus is really important because where your focus goes, your energy flows. And if you want it to go down the gutter, it's going to go down the gutter. It's going to be sad and depressed and angry and frustrated, resentful, whatever that is, right? Or it can be uplifting and say, man, I may have only had 65 years with them. Well, they had 65 years on the planet, and I had 40, whatever it was. What really is, where do you want to choose to focus your energy? They were as loving as they could be while they were here. They were as invested as they could be while they're here. They were dealing with their own stuff. I'm not going to take it personal. That brings us into the point of let's forgive them. Let's heal the wounds. Like if you felt like someone did something to damage you, to hurt you, to betray you, or something like that, forgive them while they're here, so you can heal that, and you can say, you know what? I don't know what that was about. I don't know why it happened. I don't know what you were thinking. I don't know what's going on in your life. I've never walked a day in your shoes, but I forgive you for that, whatever it is, no matter how egregious it is. Because otherwise, they're gone and you can't say it, and you're holding on to it. Okay? Have the tough conversations. Heal the wounds. Connect with that person on a level that says, you know what? None of us have a guaranteed amount of time. You know, I could walk out the front door of the clinic here and the proverbial peach truck come by and, you know, here we go. Party's over. So having the knowledge that I've done everything I can to engage my loved ones and say, you know what? Let's heal these wounds. Let's confront this. It is way harder than it is, way harder done than it is said, but that doesn't mean it's not worthwhile, okay? I think we kind of touched on it, but choosing to focus on the joy and the gratitude of what that person brought to your life, rather than focusing on the negativity or the loss, okay? So do you choose to take steps in your life now to heal your wounds now that they're gone, and to take the lively steps and say, okay, I realize that my pattern has been doing this in my life as far as my health, and what I want to do now is I want to take a different path. Like you can use that as a bookmark or a bookend, if you will, to say I'm going with this direction with my life now, and I had that then, that was then, I'm choosing to take a different path, I'm choosing to focus my energies differently, things like that. It's really helpful because you choose the meaning of your life, you choose the direction you go. So choosing that focus is really important. Don't let your negativity go there, but ask yourself, are the choices I'm making every day, are they supporting my life, are they optimizing my health, or are they making it worse? All right, and we're back. Technical difficulties are always fun. Anyway, we're just wrapping this whole thing up anyway, because you guys have valuable things to do with your evening, but we just want to bring this value to you and kind of address the elephant in the room, because there are people that are literally, passing on right now by themselves. They're quarantined, they're losing the connection with their loved ones, and that's like the biggest. I can't imagine that'd be any worse death sentence than that, just to be disconnected from your loved ones and not have that connection. So the meaning of death is what you make it. Are you choosing to mourn that person and the loss you're experiencing, or are you choosing to celebrate the life that they had when they were here and the joy you shared with them? So you choose your focus, you choose the meaning of that death, that loss, that impending loss, or having someone pass. So ultimately, if your loved one is suffering from a major illness, something they've been diagnosed with, understand that your DNA is not your destiny. You do not have to expect to have the same fate befall you, and you're not destined to live with X, Y, or Z disease or diagnosis or whatever it might be. So never let your DNA be your DNA be your destiny. Your DNA is your opportunity. So let that opportunity to learn from what they're dealing with, understand their life choices and what has led them to that, their life stresses, and then go about, feverishly working toward getting back to living instead of worrying about dying. Okay? So we'll somehow piece this whole thing back together and repost it so we can have a good closure here. But whether you're preparing to lose someone or whether you're healing from the loss of someone, choose your focus, positive or negative. Okay? Choose the meaning you place on the loss. Heal the wounds that you have going on. Make sure that you choose a different path. Okay? It's not about judging their path. It's about saying that I choose a different path. I'm living my true and authentic life, and then go about that. Okay? So we'll sign off for now. We'll touch base with you on Friday for the Friday Live Q&A. And until then, and of course next Wednesday, we'll see you next Wednesday for the Wednesday Wellness Minutes. Otherwise, be sure to send in your questions, your health questions, your life questions, whatever it might be. It doesn't matter what it is. We'll touch on everything. If you have a question, we'll do everything we can in our power to provide value for you and your loved ones. Okay? So for now, we'll sign off. Take good care, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.